Welcome to another edition of First and 10 with Rams football coach Joe Prud'homme. I'm Jimmy the St. Christopher. Rams coming off a bye week. 2 weeks ago, they lost a close, thrilling game, 27-22, to Ottawa, Arizona. It came down to the final play, a Dalton Dale incomplete pass to A.J. Bob in the end zone. Game kind of went back and forth early. The Rams had a first quarter lead of 10-0, and then it went back and forth, and then that final play. Yeah. Coach, how did you see that excruciating loss?
It was tough for you to watch, I'm sure, and it was even tougher to coach it. We had so many opportunities to win the game. Ty Williams has a big run and then the fumble at the end of it, and you could feel the momentum was really swinging our way and immediately swung their way. And, you go back and we have 5 trips in where we kick field goals instead of scoring a touchdown in the red zone, which I was very surprised by. Just couldn't quite convert in the end zone. So if we convert one of those, the last play, we could line up for a field goal and win it, but just didn't get it done. But I thought it was a great game. I thought our kids played really, really hard. I thought our execution was pretty good. But in a game like that, the margin for error is just so small that any mistake you make is completely amplified, I guess. And, we could have won the game in several different ways. We just didn't get it done. They could have lost the game some ways, and it didn't happen. So you could look at it so many ways, but that was a number, 8 team in the country at that time. We lose by 5. We should have won. We won the time of possession. We won the total yards. Did not win the turnover margin, which hurt. But we just didn't get it done in a few areas. But it was a great team that we played. It wasn't like a team that just a really good football team. You can't hang your head about it. Right. You have to win the game. You can't expect them to lose it, and that's kind of what took place.
In total yards, almost even, as Coach said, the turnovers were kind of even as well. Big difference was Christopher Ewins, the bruising running back for the Spirit. He had 200 yards, 3 TDs. How much of a difference was he?
Well, if you take away his one big touchdown run, the 70-yarder, right, then we would have contained him fairly well, but we didn't. One person missed his gap, and every other gap was shut off. He happened to hit it, broke the second line, and was gone. But his running was a big factor in the game, no question. But giving up the one big 70-yarder was, the difference in him being dominant and him being really good.
We were talking earlier before the show about Daniel Trejo, the former Rams kicker, who's now kicking for the Texas Longhorns. You got a pretty darn good kicker now than Armando Benitez. I'm not comparing the two, but he was the SAC Special Teams Player of the Week a couple weeks ago. And boy, how good can he be?
He's got a chance to be special. He's got a chance to be really, really good. His formal training and coaching hadn't had a lot. It's been a lot of he knows what to do, but the refinement that's going on, we have Mike Lee's coaching him right now. And Mike Lee coached at DeSoto and throughout a lot of great powerhouse schools. He's joined us, is working with our kickers and punters, and Armando has a good leg and he's a competitor. He kicked at Duncanville, so he's had pressure kicks. He's used to pressure kicks, and he hit it very well the other night. I thought his poise was very good. There's a couple of holds and snaps that were bobbled a little bit. Didn't let it rattle him. He just went in, made great contact, finished it off. And Blazer's having a great year. Blazer's, he's right behind Trejo by a yard. So, yes, we lost Trejo, and I'm excited for him. He's doing great there. But Blazer's filled in very well. He's averaging, I think, 40.6, and Trejo's like 41.6. So, that's our kicking game has been outstanding so far.
How good was Ottawa's defense, led by SAC Defensive Player of the Week, Eric Holm?
Good. They're very good defense. Very experienced. They bring a lot of heat. They bring a lot of blitzes. They give a lot of different looks. Again, your margin for error against teams that run that fast and move that well, it just really is small. And so anytime we would make any kind of mistake or breakdown, they were there to really capitalize on it. Ernie had over 100 yards rushing too, 150, so he was close. But we didn't score in the red zone. It really boils down to not getting touchdowns in the red zone offensively. But we executed between the 20s fairly well. Our passing game wasn't real sharp, but they had a lot to do with it. They're bringing a lot of heat. They're bringing a lot of sacks, a lot of pressures. So it was just a faster game than we played all year. But they're good. They're a very solid defense.
What do you say to the team after a close loss like that?
Well, basically, you got a whole season left to play. You got 7 games left to play. You got to continue to build on it. You got to learn from it, and you have to improve. There is no letdown. Now it just boils down to one game at a time. It sounds cliche, but it's really not. We just have to sharpen up every week in every area to where we get to a point to where we control it, as opposed to, things not working out for us. We have to put ourselves in that position by the way we execute.
How hard is it to get over a loss like that?
Oh, it's hard. It's hard. It's really hard because it goes into a bye week, and so you have more time to think about it. You have the what ifs get even bigger, but you can't what if yourself. You just got to go ahead and pick up, learn, and learn to execute a little bit better, and that's the way we approach it.
Rams now 3-1 overall, and the Spirit are 3-0 in the SAC. And speaking of that bye week, how did the bye week go for you? What do you do during a bye week, on a bye weekend especially?
Well, you do some recruiting. You also keep up with everybody else. You do whatever you didn't get done, honeydew-wise. A lot of things get left that I haven't had a chance to do. I got to catch up on a lot of that. But you also, if you get any opportunity to rest, you do it. Because we work some really, really crazy hours, and you want your staff to, unwind and recharge a little bit, and you want your kids to unwind and recharge a little bit. Let them get some rest. Let them recover from some of those nagging little injuries and bruises and stuff, and gives you a chance to kind of recharge, you hope, for the second half of the season.
Do you, although you have no control over when the bye week comes, but as you said, you kind of wish you would have had a game after instead of the bye week.
Yeah.
But when do you like to have the bye? Although there's nothing you can do to control about it. But is it better to have it earlier or later in the season?
This year worked out. I mean, where we are, because we had to go out to Arizona, and then we played the other ones. So we played 2 ranked teams in the first 3 games. Had OPSU, which was a home game, but last year we had to travel out there, so there was 2 really tough travels, and then 1. But this bye week was fine where it fell. I mean, it was fine. You really like it right around the middle of the season, like after Game 5 and going into Game 6 or things of that nature. But I'm happy with where it is.
And you're back on the road now, a week after the bye, going down to Plainview to play Wayland Baptist. Pioneers 2-2, 2-1 in the SAC. Mm-hmm. They've beaten Texas College with the school record 66 points. They beat Lyon. They lost big to Langston and Hardin-Simmons. How do you see the Pioneers?
I see that we're tied 2-1, 2-1 in the conference standings. They lead the conference in sacks. They have 18 sacks as a defense. They're number 4 in offense scoring. They're number 4 in their rushing offense. They're number 4 in yards allowed rushing. They're a formidable opponent. We have to be sharp. We have to be ready to play. We have to have a great week of work, and we got to win all 3 phases. I mean, they're very good up front on defense. Their offensive line is real big, sturdy. They've got some playmakers. Skylar Witten is a really good slot. He makes a lot of things happen in the return game as well with special teams. They're good, man. I mean, they're number 4 across the board in a lot of things. I think they're number 1 in PAT and field goal percentage. So this is a really good team we're going out to play in Plainview. So we have to be prepared. I have to have a great week this week.
How dangerous is their quarterback, Byron Pond?
He's good. He can pull it down and run a little bit and hurt you, but he's an accurate thrower. He takes what the defense gives him. So yeah, he's tough. We recruited him a little bit coming out of high school, so we've watched him for a while. We just have to be ready to go on containing him.
In the big win last week, they allowed a school record minus 72 yards rushing, 8 sacks, 2 QB fumble recoveries. How inflated is that number?
I would say it's a little bit inflated. It's not like the numbers were put up against Ottawa and OPSU and Arizona Christian, but still, they did it, and it's hard to do. So you could say it was inflated a little bit, but same token, they did it, and they got it done. So we're going to focus on what's in front of us. We're going to focus on us getting better, but we're also going to focus on the things that they could be vulnerable to, the things that we feel like will work well against them. But we just got to we just have to put it all back together. Not that we broke anything. It was a great game against Ottawa, but we got to ramp up and now, up our game a little bit.
Going back to high school, and especially at Nolan and with the Rams, what was the best defensive effort Did you ever allow more than minus 72 yards?
I think so. Nolan, one year in 2004, we had a defense. I think we had 7 regular season shutouts. Our defense and special teams that year scored more than the opposing offense scored on our defense. So it was like if our offense never played, we still would have won a lot of games. But that's a very dominant effort, you know. But you know, the Rams this year, against Arizona Christian, we held them to minus 27. It's a really good team rushing. But I don't know if we ever gave up. I think a minus 100. That's a big number. You hit triple digits. That's a big minus number. So I don't know.
I know this is kind of an off-the-wall question, but have you ever held anybody in your career to minus total yards for the game?
Oh yeah, yeah. We've done that. We've done that several different times. Did it back at Nolan. You know, probably double-digit times throughout our time there. We were close in a couple other spots. You know, here we've had a couple of good times, but never to that. But yeah, we have in the past.
You're playing in Wayland against the Pioneers now this week. What's it like playing down there?
It's kind of out in the middle. I don't want to say out in the middle of nowhere, but it's a real open space. The wind is always going to be a factor there. There's nothing to stop the wind, but it's a really nice stadium, and it's a West Texas game. I mean, that's the best way to put it. We're kind of anxious to get on the road a little bit. We play better on the road, we feel like, just because there's not any distractions. We control everything they do from the time they get on that bus until the time we play. And it makes it a little bit more focused session. So we're kind of anxious to get on the road and get out there.
And with the bye coming this past week, they kind of spit that loss out of their mouths now, right?
Yeah, I think so. You can't dwell on it. I mean, it doesn't do you any good. It's like I tell our guys all the time, and something that I have to live by, you know, especially here, is whatever I can't control, I can't let control me. So that's gone. It's history. We had an opportunity to control it. We didn't. So we can't let it control us now. We got to move on and control what we can do, which is our attitude, our effort, our execution, the way we approach the game. So that we do that going forward, we'll be fine. If we try to dwell on something that we no longer have control over, all it does is distract you and takes away from your effort and your performance.
Great philosophy, Coach. It's one of the reasons why I'm a big Joe Prud'homme fan. Live the moment.
Got to.
Spit that loss out of your mouth and go get those Pioneers.
That's it.
Week.
That's what's in front of us right now. So.
Brendan Snow and I won't be doing the game because we don't go on the road with the team, but you can catch the game on ramsports.net/live if that's possible to get the broadcast, if they have one, or the stats. Anyway, Coach, talk to you next week. Good luck this week.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
I am too as well. There goes Coach Joe Prud'homme. I'm Jimmy the St. Christopher saying talk to you next time on 1st and 10.